Coming to you live from wherever the heck Jeremy wants to bring it to you from. This is Live with 55. What is up, everybody? And Higgy's disappeared already. Welcome to this week's episode of Live with 55. I am your co-host, Jeremy Wallman, here with my other very faithful and very, very good co-hosts. He's got the keys to victory. And he's also got the keys to bullying people in his Twitter group DMs. It's my man, Wes Keys, a.k.a. I Need a Brusher.
You're terrible. But what's going on, everybody?
I don't think I'm terrible. I think I'm accurate. Underneath me, pause, is the guy who knows no limits, regardless of what it is. He's not afraid to say whatever comes out of his mouth. He is afraid if it'll be audible. It's our man, the notorious H.I.G.
Hello, everybody.
And last but not least, I think we're going to have to make a change to this graphic because this dude is one of the best producer / helpers. I mean, I say producer because he gives us all kinds of good stats. And I don't know if that would necessarily be producer, but he has been the perfect addition to this podcast and is all around. Not only is he a good dude, but he is amazing at what he does for this podcast. And he does everything Higgy's supposed to be doing, but don't. It's our guy, Tanner Hickman.
Hello, what's up, everybody?
And last but not least, it's the John Cena of the podcast because you can't see him, but he's here to give us his expertise and his opinions on everything that's been going on this week in Cardinal athletics. It's our man, the red chipper, the 6-star stud, and the guy that apparently dominates at basketball against Tanner or Ton or whatever his name is. It's our guy, Dalton Pence.
Let the record reflect that Tanner Hickman cannot guard me.
That's true. Mismatch.
That's kind of rude, but I'll allow it. Listen, what we're gonna do first is we've already decided. We've been talking for about half an hour now. We decided we're gonna let you all, the viewers, the listeners, drive the show. So any questions that you all have, put it in the chat. Let's go ahead and get caught up because the text line, the Mossy Oak Properties and Heart Realty text line is already on fire. Let's throw some of these comments up on the screen. Our guy Beast Mode says, let's go. Our guy Dwayne Cross says, what's good, Card Family? Over on YouTube, look, so far 2 different platforms, 2 different people. A third different platform, our guy Kevin Watson. What's up, gang? What is up, my man? Meezy said, what's good? What's up, Meezy? Gregory. Oh, my guy Gregory he's from Facebook, but he's tuning in on YouTube. We appreciate that because that's what we've asked everybody to do. B says, dang it, Higgy. I don't know what Higgy did, but dang it. He always does something. Chad Brocky, how are things going tonight? Fabian Bradley, how's it going, everybody? Our guy Justin McCord chiming in. What's up, CSZ family? Brian McGlasson back again with what's up, CSZ gang? Fabian Bradley says notorious Higgy. Cashmere, I didn't see you last night, so I'm kind of upset. Normally, when I see Cashmere at the game, we win, and I've not seen him in a couple games. Kevin Watson again says you're the no limit soldier, Higgy. Justin McCord called you the Big Hig. I guess that's a play on the Big Rig over there on 93.9 in the afternoons or whatever channel it is. Premium subscriber Corey Massey says, what's up, fellows? Premium subscriber Robert Holt says, what's up, fellows? In his Cody Rhodes voice, what do you want to talk about? I think that is very, very, very apparent what we're going to talk about tonight. Brian says that we have the best intros in all of radio entertainment. My guy IK, Isaiah Kelly, what's good, y'all? Look, we're going to play I'm going to put all these up here. I don't normally do that, but this is a show for you all, by us, however you want to put it. Putting me on the spot early, says Beast. Absolutely. Babu says, what's up? Robbie Dull, day 1 CSZ supporter. Good evening, Cardinal Sports Zone family. Card Dawn says CSZ fam. Lee Newton from Orlando says Yule. Okay, well, Yule, that's a very great point. I can't dispute it. It is Yule. Beast Mode says Whataburger or In-N-Out. That's not this type of show today. Not yet, anyway. We're very loose. We have a very loose format here. Sometimes we start off with U of L stuff. We talk wrestling. We end up with Higgy talking about his favorite places to eat because he's a food connoisseur. TJ says, "What's up, guys?" I know Cashmere said, "My bad, I wasn't there last night." T. Will says, "CSZ family, good seeing you yesterday again, 55. Look, I saw him for the first time the last game, and I would have never put that face to that Twitter, the profile or the way he talks on Twitter, like it completely blew me out of the water." Steve Franconia, what's up, Jeremy? Well, it's not just Jeremy here, so what's up to everybody? But yeah. Lee Newton says, "Loud and clear down here in Orlando." Oops, let's put it up there. I'm going to be in Orlando in a couple weeks, and I can't wait to get that. Well, not a couple, in about a month and a half. Can't wait to get there. If Fabian ends off the new comments, and we'll clip it right there. Last night was so frustrating. It was. We'll very quickly talk about that. Larry Whitaker wants to know, is Jason on campus now? He wasn't when Trilly tweeted about it, but he is into, like they think he is now. So I haven't been able to get any update. Actually, I do have updates. My phone's going off too, so maybe somebody's got something new. I have no idea. Let's see. Shouldn't give his salary. Yep. Look, I'll read that one as well. That was a great point. The tweet I just got: Kenny Payne should give back his salary and help hire his replacement. He has been the worst hire in college basketball history. I don't know if I agree with that. I'm embarrassed because I was so fired up about his potential. I won't say we all, but I was very pumped about it. We talked about that before the show too. We were told different things before he got here than what happened. So anybody that was happy about it and pumped up for it shouldn't feel stupid that you all thought what we thought. So Ricky Buckner in the house says, "Yo, all right, you know what? I'm going to keep on reading these, and we're going to get to, because I know that Dalton wants to chime in. He's got apparently Tanner was so afraid Dalton was going to dominate him tonight. He didn't go to basketball. So
Sources confirm this is true.
It's true.
Yes, we just got that confirmed. Roger, my guy Roger needs anything new on basketball. We'll talk about that in a second. Jay Wright says, "Our guy Henry. I love Henry because he is so contrary on Twitter, but like he'll DM me and be like, 'What's up?' But like he's one of those guys that's a real good dude." There's another one, Joe Mamba, who kind of seems aggressive on Twitter, but they just love the university and they're frustrated right now, and I get it. But Henry will say stupid stuff on Twitter and then hit me up, DM me, be like, "Am I in trouble? LOL." It's funny. Just on. I already read that one. My bad, Larry. Robbie says softball update: Louisville 4-1, bottom in the fifth over number 24 Arizona. That's awesome. Is KP 100% done? I think so. My opinion is that he is done. Baseball is on fire. We'll talk about that. A great point from Fabian. I wish Trilly would go away. I've made this point several times in our group DMs. Trilly, I'm not going to say anything bad about him because if it's not Louisville related, this dude just hits it out of the park every time. But he has been wrong on about 70% of his Louisville stuff since Kenny's been here. And it almost feels like he's one of those Jeff Goodman type dudes that are trying to sabotage Louisville because his friend got fired. So I don't know. I don't know Trilly personally. I kind of feel like I know who it is. Me and Dalton's been doing some sleuthing. We kind of think we have it figured out. Have for a while, honestly. But maybe he just hates Kenny Payne. Maybe he hates that Chris Mack was fired. Maybe it's Chris Mack. We don't know. It could be. Shirley could be Chris Mack. I mean, Chris did have kind of a swag to him, so it could be that that's who it is. But Kevin says if U of L signs Knox and Jason, does that I'm going to pronounce it Jason until somebody tells me it's Jason because I don't know how you pronounce it. Does that save KP? Now, let's take Jason out of it. I was told in December by somebody that was at the meeting that Carter Knox's family told us, hey, we'll commit as long as KP's here a third year. There's been a lot of damage done since December on the court. I've never seen it more in my entire life. I've never seen players play defense with their hands down to their knees. Not everybody. Brandon plays defense. Sky plays defense. I won't crap on the players that don't play defense. And there's a couple others. Let's not get it twisted. But there were one or two guys I saw last night that never raised their hand once. And we had 16 threes hit against us last night. Tanner. I believe it was something like that. It was definitely more than 14. So I no longer believe, as I fully believed that in December, and as I fully believed that March the 1st, as of today, I think that we can get Knox and Jason without, I'm going to pronounce it a different way every time, I promise. I no longer believe that signing Carter Knox, or if they commit this week, like it's predicted that one of them's going to, again, I want to make this perfectly clear because I have a lot of people that go at me, oh, you're lying. This is not true. The only thing I share, 13 threes against us. Okay. It felt like way more. I felt like I looked up with 9 minutes left and they had 13. So I don't know. But anyway, I want to make this perfectly clear. When we go on the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast, we could charge you all like some message boards do, but we don't. We give this to you for free. I'm sharing you all direct information from the program. If it doesn't happen, that's not my fault. Like I can't help that Coach A went to Coach B, or I'm sorry, Coach B went to Coach A with a phenomenal athlete, and Coach A was like, "No, I'd rather have Karan." But I've already told you all that, hey, Chris Bell wants to be a Louisville Cardinal, and then he don't get picked by the head coach. Now I could very easily just stop sharing the information I'm told, but to say that I'm never right, I've been right on about 95% of the stuff that I've told you all. I told you all when Scott Clark was good to go 2 weeks before he was. Trey White, Dennis. I found out about Dennis. I was laying in the hospital bed when Dennis committed, speaking to somebody on that would know, was in my hospital room talking to me and let me know, hey, Dennis committed. I put that out. And it was like, no, that's not going to happen. And the next day it was announced officially. So just to let y'all know, the things that I share with you all may or may not happen, but I would not share it with you if I didn't think there was an ounce of truth to it. Let's leave it at that. Another person wanted to know if Sanan made it to town yet. I assume he's here. I don't know that he is. All I know is that Jody Demling confirmed that when Trilly put out this afternoon that Sanan was on campus, that he in fact was not on campus, but that he would be here later. I don't know what time later is. Let's go further down. But yeah, you could even make the argument that if there's some way that Josh Hurd is able to get these two players to commit prior to this coaching search, you can have two big carrots to dangle and say, hey, Coach A, we know it's probably not very likely you come here, but we got 2 5-stars. Want a 5-star? Want a 5-star? We got 2. Ezekiel says he is by far the worst hire in history. Okay. Now, you all also know that he is a friend of the family, so I'm not going to sit here and trash him. I will speak absolutes. I will say he's lost a lot more. He's lost 50 games in 2 years. Nobody thought that. He's not won double-digit games in 2 years. Nobody thought that at the beginning. He's had a lot of people that promised their support back out on him, no matter whose fault that is. We don't know. We might know after the season's over with, but I won't sit here and be like, oh, he's the worst, yada, yada, yada. Measy says, so are they saying Drew is staying at Baylor? I know Henry. You're always joking with me, and I appreciate Henry's humor. Nobody's saying anything. Now, I did have a private conversation with somebody that represents Baylor earlier. That's as far as I'll go. That said they would be absolutely floored if Scott Drew left Baylor for here. Said that he gets over north of $8 million before his incentives with his salary and endorsements and sponsorship packages that he gets. That he actually, and I didn't know this, Tanner said he didn't, and I think Wes did as well. He sat down and helped design that new arena that they just built for him. He didn't just have him build an arena. He sat down and told him what facets, what attributes, what amenities he wanted in that arena, and they built it for him. He's extremely religious, extremely loyal. I don't think. Now, listen to me. Jamie Wyman from Cardinal Sports Zone said, Drew's never coming here. No, that's not what I said. That's not what the People's Champ said. What I said was, I don't think he's a possibility. But nobody's saying anything, my man. Measy, it's being kept very tight-lipped. The only person that said anything to me today was my Baylor Connect, and they were like, if it was another school that he had ties to, he might be worried, but she might be worried, but they weren't worried about this at all. And Ricky, you're right. Sometimes family just say stuff, though. You're right. He's not done a great job, but I still love him, man. Was any of you at the game last night? Reported only 3,000 fans were there. That's absolutely false. I was sitting right there with Shayna Smith, with Coach Manning's wife, with the rest of the staff, 3 rows from the court. Not a flex, but a flex. And there were, if I had to guess, I would say about 7,500 to 8,000 people there. Still not ideal, but it wasn't. I've seen that too. There was not only 3,000 fans there. Ezekiel says there's no year 3. I agree. You're not going to hear me argue that anymore. With the portal, honestly, I don't even care about Knox, says Ricky. This is what worries me the most. 5 out of our last 6 games, teams have hit 10 or more threes on us. That is pathetic. And if you sit there and look, most of those threes were hit on the same person. But I ain't gonna say it. I'm gonna sit here like Kermit and sip on my tea.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice, I drank on that for 1, 2, Trey seconds. It is what it is. Speak at 55, says Corey. Steve says, Jeremy, kids and family and money work in mysterious ways. We trust you, bro. I appreciate that, Ricky. Look, I would never mislead you all. And I don't understand why there's so much hate on Twitter because even Dalton experienced it today. We won't say any names, but Dalton just presented it. He didn't ask anybody. He didn't add anybody. He just put a scenario out there where you had to put part A in there for part B to make sense, and he was ridiculed for it. And I don't think that was very – I mean, Dalton's a grown-ass man. Excuse my language, a grown man. He can take up for himself. He can do what he wants. I didn't appreciate it. I know he didn't, but it is – people just go to hate first. Like, we get it. You all don't like Kenny Payne. Why do we still have radio hosts in the city beating Kenny down like a dead horse? It's over. According to you all, it's been over for 3 months. So why would you still keep beating and beating and beating? It's not going to work out. He's not coming back. I love him. It's a wrap. Yes, Kenny has been stubborn with certain things that you can't deny that. Brent, our guy Brent, aka WL Weller, says, is the 502 circle involved finally? I believe that to be true. Henry says, who's your second choice as the new head coach? We're gonna attack that in a second because I want to know everybody's, not just yet. Hold off until I pose the question, because this is the reason why I wanted Dalton to join us, because he does sometimes look, when you got the older guys in here and you got the younger guys in here, sometimes the older guys can drop knowledge on the younger, and sometimes the younger have a different perspective or their perspective. So it's not necessarily always wrong, but it's different, and that's what we want to hear. So, Henry, put a pin in that. We'll talk about it here soon. Isaiah said, or IK says, basketball aside, how's KP's mental? I know this has been a lot for him. I've been praying for him. That's the kind of mentality we need to have. And he's like, I've talked to him several times in the last few weeks. He has not seemed like he's letting it. That's what you got to worry about the most, though, about strong men like him. They may, and I'm the same way. There's times when I'm absolutely devastated, but I carry the cross for my family. I want to make sure that I present the fact that I'm okay at times, even when I'm not, so they don't worry. So it's just how it is. I appreciate you praying for him, and I'll pass that along to him. I have been as well. Fabian says, if Josh pulls these recruits, then he knows who the next head coach is. I don't disagree. Carito, our guy Carito, Guap, says, this is madness. Why even put Drew out this early? I feel like U of L is calling this bluff or something if this is true. I think it's a smokescreen so they can get who they want. I'll just be honest with you. How do you get $8 million and only have an 8,000-seat arena? Because that's what he wanted, Quentin. He wanted a small, intimate, allegedly. I don't know that to be true. But what it was put out is that he wanted a small, intimate environment where he got a home court advantage. And sure enough, if you watch games at Baylor, the thing is rocking, and it's intimidating to play in. Misi says Baylor has 2 times the endowment and all that oil money. Drew fixing to get a big raise. Why deal with us? Bingo. Cardon says Nike money is just different in basketball. True. Marcus says, do you know the number 2 choice that Diener was talking about this morning? Was it Muss or was it Cronin? I do not know. I don't know that because I'll be honest with you. Like Josh Hurd was sitting right behind me in like 4 seats to the right. He was on his phone the entire night, willing and dealing or whatever he was doing. I was trying to ear hustle a little bit, not even going to lie. Didn't hear anything of substance, so I don't know. Weller says endowment doesn't pay salary. No, but why would you need to, if you're getting, $3.5 million in salary and then $5 million in endowment or thank you, T. Will. Absolutely, a lot more fans were at the game last night. Who cares where the money's coming from? If you're getting north of $8 million every year, it could come from between Higgy's glasses and his nose, and I wouldn't care. Shout out to Higgy. Is Mrs. Higgy listening too?
Yep.
Tell her I said hello. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this because I know Dalton's got to hop off here so he can dominate in his Z League basketball practice. And we'll leave you up here, Brent, so we know where to go back in the comments. Dalton, the thing is this: people are wanting to know who the coach is going to be. Now, we don't know that just yet. But what we do know is if we're going to sit here and X out certain candidates, let's go ahead and X them out. Scott Drew, we've X'd them out as a group. We've collectively agreed before Dalton even got on the phone, on the video, that Scott Drew's out because he'd never leave Baylor. We X'd out Mick Cronin because we can't pay the $20 million buyout. We X'd out Chris Beard because of off-the-court issues. We very humbly crossed out Will Wade because he was in NCAA trouble. And if we're going to cross out the other guys, we had to be fair and cross him out too. There's also some rumors of some off-the-court stuff with Nate Oates that we're not going to speculate and go into. Dusty May, I think, is waiting on the IU job. So whether he wanted us or not, we wouldn't want him because we know he'd leave us for IU. So who does that realistically? Let's we're going to go to the very end. We're gonna and Billy Donovan. I don't think I think I was about to call him coach. I think that Diener this morning threw Billy in there because it was a fun guess. But I don't think he's been out of the game 17 years. I think you have a better chance of a Bob Huggins than you do a Billy Donovan. I'll just be honest with you. Chad, I want to get back to that. So there's no loophole, Henry. I had somebody look at the contract today, unless it is just hidden somewhere that the person, and it wasn't Higgy that I had look it over. So you don't have to worry about people missing anything. I hope Higgy said Higgy didn't have a great day today. Y'all say something nice about Higgy in the comments. But I want to ask Dalton first so he can hop off here. And then while he's talking, I want you all to answer. If all those guys, we've written off all those guys, which is pretty much the entire search, who are your top three guys, Dalton, and why?
I mean, look, I get why we've crossed off a couple of these guys, truthfully. And for the sake of conversation, like, I'm not disagreeing, but I would kind of caution to cross off anyone at the moment. It is my thought because of how close to the best Josh Hurt has played all of this. I mean, essentially, he's kept us guessing. And I applaud him for that because I think that it is strategic to operate in that manner. I think it's very interesting how both Drew Diener and Jeff Goodman came out essentially at the same time on the same day when there really hadn't been many leaks and talked about some names. You mentioned a possible smokescreen, and with Josh Hurd, that would make a lot of sense. So, I mean, for the sake of conversation, outside of those names that you've crossed off, who I would probably argue are there's some names on there that won't be crossed off at all.
That's fair.
I mean, for the sake of argument, we'll go with, I don't know, Jerome Tang being one of them. I think he's a name that's sort of been talked about early on, but doesn't have a lot of steam now. Maybe Shaka Smart, sort of the same thing with him. Outside of that, I just have a hard time believing that guys like Oates, Will Wade, even Eric Musselman to an extent, despite this tough year, guys like Scott Drew, not a huge Chris Beard fan because of the off-the-court stuff, but I could see a situation where he may be in consideration. I guess what I'm trying to say is that we don't know, or at least that's my take on it, is that everyone's sort of in the dark right now, and I kind of like that. I like that a lot. I'll have to be completely honest with you. So that's sort of my take on the situation. I'll just say you know who I want. My number one candidate realistically is in the list that you crossed off.
And
I'll
to be
just
fair,
leave.
I only crossed him off because I feel like I'd
I
be
know.
hypocritical if I didn't cross him off, but I crossed all these other people off. Uh,
Yeah.
but
The last thing I'll say, but before I head out, and I appreciate you all having me on, three things that I'll say that I am looking for in this coach. Number one is I want to believe in the X's and O's on the court. I think that was one of my biggest gripes is that, yeah, I thought we saw an influx of talent this year, but I really still, up until, what are we, almost 2 full seasons in, and I still don't see anything of what we're trying to grasp at X's and O's. The second thing is just understanding and sort of relating with the fan base is the other aspect of this. And then the third is the PR, knowing, the role that you're stepping into and saying the right things. If you have to hire someone to speak PR for you, do it. But at the end of the day, those are my three things that I'm looking for. A guy that's going to bring us back to prominence, and no surefire hire here outside of maybe a couple. But I think there's a couple candidates that can get us back to prominence. So that's all I'll say. Y'all have a good night. Appreciate y'all having me on.
absolutely, Dalton Pence, the red chip 18-star backup pickup basketball playing champion. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the people that are tuned in right now. Let's get back to the comments, and then we'll catch up with you all. My point to do that little exercise, though, and that was brought to you, the question of the night was brought to you by Bear Nose On Market. Make sure you're going to there before, after all the basketball. Well, I mean, don't go there before and after, but you can go there before the games, after the games, concerts, any of that stuff. Make sure you go in there and tell them Cardinal Sports Zone sent you, and we'll be able to bring you more shows and more content like we are. Let's get back though, because I saw a lot of great comments in the chat. Let's get back. Hey Chris, I'm telling you. Let's see. Where's it at? Who are we at? Where's the WL? Where are you at? He's still okay. Here we go. All right. Uncle Larry says, I'm doing a nonstop cards chant in the Yum Center Saturday night. Let's show our appreciation to our athletes in university. T-Will was there last night. He knows there was more than 3,000 fans there. It was 3,002. Get it straight. No, there was listen, there were more than double of that. That's all we'll say. WL says Tang. I guess that was his choice. Albert Cross Art, the guy that created our outro for this, we appreciate it. People posted pictures 1 minute before the game time. Here's the problem with that. For some reason, and this is in all sports, Louisville fans don't show up until tip-off. But like even last night, me and Teresa were sitting there. We're sitting next to Shayna, and I look around. Also not a flex, but a flex. And I'm like, my God, this may be the lowest attended game I've seen this season. And then they jump ball, and I look around, and magically the crowd has quadrupled in size. And I'm like, okay, this is U of L athletics. We do show up late or on time for everything. And the weather was bad. We're also really bad. I don't want to say fair weather, but when it comes to weather, the actual weather, we're real finicky about that. Kevin Watson says, any chance KP waives the buyout? Is there any way that you would waive your buyout?
No.
Oh, wait, shout out to our guys at 502 Circle. You see that the logo in the background. They're going to help get this team, get this program back to prominence. Fabian says, putting Drew out there this early by media will only get him paid and extended by Baylor. Absolutely agree with that. Brandon, again, haters exist because somebody I'm not going to do that. Y'all know I don't hate on any of the other hosts or co-hosts of radio. Everybody's trying to, by the way, Ethan Moore, Taylor Lynch, right here at 8 o'clock, I believe, are going, it is 8 o'clock, LSL on ESPN 93.9 The Ville. Make sure you tune in for them. Look, they both love Louisville sports. They've both been aggravated because of what's happened. They've been very vocal, but that doesn't mean they're bad people. Tune into them. I promise you'll enjoy what you hear. RL Holt says, after we get a new coach, will BBH finally shut the heck up? They'll just probably find the next coach. I mean, like who's good in baseball? Who's a good baseball coach to go after? That'll be his next hashtag, because he was definitely one of them that was. No, I don't know if he was, but people are very angry after the first 4 games of the baseball season, and then we have knocked the holy bleep out of the baseball ever since. And the lineup change, like Wes brought up before the show, was the key. No pun intended. Was the key to that turnaround. How do you feel about Mick? That's the new rumor on Twitter. As a person, I don't like him. As a coach, I don't like him. He has been to 3 straight Sweet 16. That would be a plus. I mean, if you're going to stack resumes, I guess his resume would be the best outside of Scott Drew and everybody's wild dream, Jay Wright. I mean, Jay Wright's already removed himself from contention. But other than those two, I don't know anybody that's got a record or tournament-wise has a record that can compare with him, but I don't care for him. We lost Higgy again. His fence guy must be there.
All right.
Save the refrigerators is all I'm going to say. Chris Curry caught what I was trying to say. I think everybody did. Player X has given up a lot of trays. I didn't say that. I said there was a player that had given up a lot of threes, and I said I'm going to sip on my drink for 1-2 tray seconds. I don't know what you now that it's at an end, who would have imagined it would be this bad? Look, there were people on Twitter that were, I'm not going to not give them their flowers. They were like, this is absolutely the worst thing ever. He's got no experience. You can't do this. And Ethan was one of them. Our guy, Ethan from LSL, was one of them. So he could see it, but he also didn't have the intel. Ended up being false, but didn't have the people coming to him telling him, hey, World Wide West, Junior Bridgman, Wade Houston, Magic Johnson. What's the name of the Rocka what?
You talking about Rock Nation?
Rock Nation. We're gonna have all this money, and we didn't end up. Kenny had to go out and get his own NIL money. That was a fact that I thought was very, very disturbing. Okay. So Grant McCaslin from Texas Tech coached LSU in the tournament when Will Wade was suspended. So I mean. But Will Wade, the only thing that really worries me about him is his first-round exits. He's had quite a bit of first-round exits in the NCAA tournament. Show cause don't really bother me because if you have the right assistant coaches, shout out to our guy Nolan Smith, by the way. That wasn't a plug, but it was. You don't have to worry about stuff like that. I do understand that if we even get so much as a level 3, that will be annihilated. The program will be decimated. I think that Will would let everybody else do their job, unlike the current regime. And some people are going to say I've turned full heel. I've had a heel turn on Kenny. I haven't. I just the absolutes that I know now and know that there's no chance. It's really I'm able to speak more free because I know what the outcome is going to be. Brother to brother in the house. Ayo, what's good? It is Texas, a lot of money, says Albert Cross. Do what? I couldn't hear you.
No, I was saying when you said full heel, I was like, Jeremy's about to get the dark shades and the Versace shirts.
Listen, if you look at my Twitter profile, the location says #heel Jeremy. I mean, I'm a better heel than I am a face anyway because I'm a natural nice guy, but if you push me too far, I will Will Smith you any day of the week. It is what it is. Quentin says, appreciate all the, y'all are making it impossible for us really to follow our topics. Again, we kind of covered baseball already. They knocked the cover off the ball. The lineup change. Eddie King Jr. shout out. Alisea shout out. We had him on the Louisville live stream earlier in the year. Sebastian Gongora, everything we expected out of him these last 2 games that he's pitched. The senior graduate transfer from Wright State. Absolutely amazing. Quentin McCauley, no way Scott Drew is in talks now without some kind of contact. He's having a lot of success at Baylor. Literally, let's put it this way. He would be absolutely stupid to leave oil money, one of the Nike flagships, all that stuff. He's got a 5-star in VJ Edgecombe that he believes is gonna take his team to the next level. Chad Brocky says he thinks, shout out to Chad, option B is Dusty May. I would rather accidentally be Dutch ovened at night while I was sleeping than to have Dusty May. Now, for those of y'all who don't know what a Dutch oven is, that's when you and your partner are laying under the blanket and you accidentally pass gas and they accidentally pull the covers over their head. Too much information. I don't care. Throw the flag. Thank you, Wes. I'd rather be Dutch ovened for the rest of my life than to have Dusty May as the coach. And sure as I said that, he'll be the next coach. Sharon says, late, but I'm here. You didn't miss much, man. Listen, we're going to talk about everybody's thoughts, concerns, comments. This is a healing place. Like, we're not here to hate. We're not here to be negative.
Yeah.
Brian McGlasson says, Little Patino is number 2. Little Patino is in the running. Y'all can laugh all you want to. A lot of people have kind of laughed at that. He is a viable option. I don't know that he's number 2. I wouldn't be surprised if he was number 2. But I don't know who number 2 is because I didn't talk to who Drew talked to last night. I don't know if there is. Let's put it this way. I'm not doubting him, but I don't know that there is a guy that we've got locked in a closet somewhere in case Drew says Scott Drew says no. Henry thinks that we can magically match whatever endorsement he got. No, we can't. Our school. That's the only reason that year 3 seemed like such a foregone conclusion to me is because I know about the school's financial downfalls. I know that they took out a loan a couple years back to cover the loss from the COVID year, which was not Kenny Payne's fault. People like to say that, but it's not. So if we could match his endorsement money, we could have got Kenny out of here months ago.
Yeah.
There's a logical way to look at it. Chris Curry says Must Bus has 9 seniors and 14 and 50 with a lot of. No, I don't. Literally would rather get on the TARC than the Must Bus. This is the point that I think y'all were talking about. Doesn't help to bash them weekly. I've got this as a talking point as well. By the way, Saturday, Boston College Senior Day, 5:30. If y'all want to listen, me and the CSZ podcast team are meeting up at Bear Nose for lunch around 3. Y'all want to come in and say hi, we'll definitely be there to chat with you and have a good time. It's our end of the season, basketball season luncheon that we have. And shout out to George for hosting us. We appreciate it. But it doesn't help to bash them weekly. Even on Jason's tweet today where he was like, no, Trilly, I'm not there. I'm here. And it looked like he was at some – I don't know where he was, but it was in – Go ahead, Wes.
No, I was saying it looked cool, that statue.
Yeah, well, the statue, I didn't realize this till somebody pointed out to me later. The statue were the letters P-U-M-A, Puma. Now, I didn't notice that at first. I was too busy trying to find out what were the graphics on the background over here. Was that the Dunkin' Donut? It kind of looked like the Dunkin' Donut Center. Well, come to find out, I think T-Will said it was definitely in Rhode Island. They were definitely in Rhode Island somewhere. So, but no, these recruits are going to – no matter how y'all feel about Kenny, let's not run the recruits off. Like, you don't want Carter Knox and I'm going to say it a different way, Jaman Shaman. You don't want those guys here at U of L. Like, they want to be here regardless, it sounds like. Why would you run them off? Why would you tweet ignorant things in, well, you know Kenny's not going to be here, so we don't need you if that's why you're coming. Like, just pure ignorant. It doesn't help to bash them weekly. It doesn't help the players that are on the team that are struggling with confidence issues as it is, and we have a multitude of those. And it doesn't help the visuals, the optics of our program when our fans are bashing every – look, be as douches as you want to KP. He's the head coach. He signed up for it. I'm not saying it's fair, but be like that to him. But don't be like that to the players. They chose to come to Louisville to try to help turn this around. Whether they're getting the appropriate direction that they should. And also another thing, I'm tired of seeing people, and again, do what you want to. I'm tired of seeing people bash Kenny and the staff. The staff has come to him with plenty of good ideas and plenty of players. He is from what I have heard, and you all know who I'm talking about when I say from who I've heard, he is just like heck bent on just doing it his way and not listening to any of them. Now, whether that is 100% true or not, we'll find out after the season. We'll be able to sit down and talk to a couple of the guys and get the skinny on that. But no, it doesn't help to bash any of them. Dwayne will take Billy Donovan. I mean, he's not been in the game for 17 years. Can he maneuver NIL? I don't know. But yeah, I would take him too. If the options were Tang, Donovan, and Richard Pitino Jr., I would take Billy Donovan for sure. Sharon says they just announced Woodson is staying. Who's Woodson?
Mike Woodson at IU.
Okay, well, yeah, he'll stay. I'm not saying Dusty was going to take the job this year.
No.
Let's make that perfectly clear. I'm afraid that the second Woodson is finally fired,
Mhm.
he's the coach here next year, and Woodson gets fired after the year next year. That's where he's going. 1,000% is IU. Chad, Eric Crawford was on Bobby V today and said Kenny isn't using NIL like he could. He said Louisville can get $4 million if he went through the collectives. That is not necessarily, and I know what y'all are going to say. Oh, well, that's Eric Crawford. You're Jeremy Wyman. That's fine. All I know is that when I talk to certain, again, not going to say names because I don't want to get in trouble. When I talk to Mr. A, he said that he knew for a fact that Kenny had to go out and raise $1 million of NIL money on his own, and that's all he could get. That he had his own collective, whether it was doing a good job or not, with $1 million, it doesn't really sound good, but that he wasn't getting as much help from. And again, I don't know. I'm going to stay out of that because y'all know I'm very good with the 502 circle, and those are my dudes. I don't know what's true and what's not true about that, but I don't believe that statement to be 100% factual, Chad. W.L. Weller says, so Goodman is right. I don't know if he's right or not. What about the loophole? That loophole we think is non-existent. Now, we could be proven wrong. And for BHH, he's been dead on a lot of stuff, so it wouldn't shock me. But I had somebody look at the contract today. There was no mention of said loophole in it. Brent wants Tang, Richard Patino. Justin McCord says, no, not Bob. Fabian says South Florida's coach. I don't think that would be a bad under-the-radar coach. Jay Wright, he's already taken himself out of consideration. Otherwise, Cards Watch, I would agree with you. Fabian says Billy Donovan. Brandon says Shirts from Indiana State. Justin McCord says that's a nice beard, Higgy. Well, it vanished. Allie Jack with that one I haven't seen yet. Steve Lutz from WKU, interesting guy. Sure.
He's
Tanner, go ahead.
I think he's a first-year coach there at Western. My friend's a Western fan. He texts me about him all the time. They actually have Ralph Willard on staff down there.
Okay. That would be, I guess that would be an interesting guy as far as past ties are concerned. Card Watch says Kenny Payne will get a third year. No.
Honestly,
Love you, KP, but he won't.
Also, with everything going on, like we said about Knox and Sanan, like I think with those two being on board, that there is some gauge within the athletic department of who they can get.
Wes, really quick, I'm gonna put some of the comments on the screen so I don't have to read them all out while you're talking. So if you're watching and it's something we're gonna talk about, I'll write it down. We'll get to it. But go ahead, Wes.
Now, I was just gonna say, with those two willing to commit, I know people will say NIL, yeah, but I think it also shows that the athletic department does have a gauge on which coaches they can get. They don't have a guy locked in, but they have a gauge.
Absolutely. Look, Chad Brocky says he likes Shirts, Golden, and Jans. That's I don't dislike any of those guys, but when you tell me that we have to have a home run hire,
Yeah,
or we're going to be doing this again in 2 or 3 more years, none of those names scream out to me, oh, he's going to be here 5-10 years. They just don't. I don't dislike them, but if you have beaten to my head for the last 6 months, it's got to be a home run hire or this is going to be a failure. None of those guys scream home run hire to me. Isaiah, Tanner, write this question down because we're going to talk about this next week after the regular season and probably the entire season. When we come to you all next time, it will be Tuesday night. Do we know what time we're playing Tuesday, by the way, Tanner?
Time.
Let's look that up. But what we're going to do is we're going to come to you all after the game Tuesday night. If the game's earlier in the day, we're going to go at 7 p.m. If it's later in the evening, we're going to come to you. We will be on here live after the game to discuss it. But I want to talk about this the next game. I'm not going to do this to these kids while they're still on the team, while they're still here. But I do want to talk about that because I do have some good input on that. Adam, you're not late at all. We kind of went back over everything. Jay Bell in the building. What's good, Jay? Power 10 in the building, I guess, with him and brother to brother. Well, and Wes is here, so we got the power to power. I mean, that's what you really should call it. You got the Power 10 Space in the building. Represent. Appreciate y'all tuning in. If y'all have not caught one of their spaces, make sure you do. Very entertaining, very insightful, and they're doing a really good job for a space that doesn't really have a platform other than Spaces, and they're just getting started up. So I have fun listening to them. So I know you all probably will too. Premium subscriber Corey Massey says Grant McCaslin from Texas Tech wouldn't be bad in his opinion. I know he's not talked about, but someone I've seen do good over the years. 18-6 right now. Hey, Mr. Page is in the building. Benjamin Hemp. We're late getting in to watch the show because of the TSA security and alcohol. Well, glad you got in okay. Absolutely. Tanner, did you find out what time we play Tuesday?
Yeah, I just sent it to you. It's at 2 p.m.
All right. We'll be here next Tuesday at 7 p.m. We'll wrap the season up, and I can already pretty much wrap it up with the poop emoji, but we'll talk about it. We'll let you all get everything off your chest that you want to. We'll be here for you because that's what we got to do. We got to get together. Caleb Hall says buyout is out of the question. Is he a possible final candidate on Hurd's radar? I don't know because I'm not Josh Hurd, but I would say, okay. Wes Keys got a call from DoorDash. He's got to run down to the front door to get it. So we'll have him back on here in a second. Any chance, Bruce? There's a chance anybody gets a look, Larry. I don't know who. This is so fresh. I haven't got a whole lot of intel on this. I've been working all day to find out stuff and told y'all every single thing that I've been told today. Quentin says, Scott, here we go. It's our resident playboy, Wes Keys, back in the building.
Nah, it's just family members choose to call me at the wrong time.
Absolutely. Q says Scott Drew is not obligated to take any extension or anything. I feel like there's been enough buzz lately that if he weren't interested, it would be shot down. The buzz literally has been within the last 3 or 4 days. So, no, he's not had enough time. He's trying to lead his team. He's trying to coach his team. He's not worried at all about the Louisville job while he's trying to coach his team. I don't know who Roger's talking about. He don't like him either. Fabian says if we could have had Hunter Salas, why didn't we? I don't even know who that is, so I'll have to plead ignorance on that.
He's the Wake Forest point guard.
Oh,
that transferred from Gonzaga.
Never heard that. And you know who I'm best friends with? Never heard that name come out of his mouth one time. Plenty of other people. Caleb Love, heard him come out of his mouth. Heard Keyshawn Hall, heard Chris Bell, heard Amani Bates, heard Dior Johnson, yada, 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 etc. I hate saying that word. I don't know why I've started doing that. Never heard Hunter Salas. Also never heard, but they don't mean anything because on the flip side, I've never heard, what was the kid from Western, Davion McKnight?
Yeah.
I never heard his name from anybody on our staff. But I've heard people that I trust implicitly say he was interested in coming to Louisville. Don't know why they didn't take him. So, again, don't know. Meezy wants to know, how do you run off 2 Hall of Fame basketball coaches and not expect things to get this bad? Yes, we ran off Crum. Well, we did, but we didn't. I'm not going to – you know what? We're not going to talk about Coach Crum in a negative way. He, bless his heart, it was his birthday this past week. Happy heavenly birthday, Coach Crum. We'll leave it at that. How about Anthony Grant? When you all pitch these guys out, some of them I haven't heard of. Let me know where they coach at, too.
I think he's at Dayton.
Dayton.
Maybe.
Okay.
Let me see.
Howard Penn in the building. Absolutely. What kind of coach would we want that may keep Nolan? Hollywood Jeremy, leg dropping KP. Look, I'm just telling the truth. I don't have any. There's no hope in me for him being retained at this point. So I got to be honest with you.
And they coach outside of that one good year with Obi Toppin. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's like all right, I guess. He was the coach at Alabama, I think, before Nate Oates got there.
Roger wants to know what kind of coach we can keep that may want to keep Nolan. That's where I was getting to that was where my next point was, and we'll throw this next one on the board. There's been a lot of and again, I don't feel right speaking on this because you all know that he's my friend. Like, that's my family. But what I will say is that you all get on social media and you trash him, but you all don't know what he's been hindered. You don't know his hindrances. You don't know what he's presented to KP, and KP's just absolutely smacked down. Like, no, we're not doing that. or what he said that he has listened to, which most of the wins we've had this season were Nolan Scout. Most of the games we stayed close in were Nolan Scout. So I'm not going to speak on that. I do think from a logical standpoint, you want to stick with younger guys because the older guys probably are going to bring their trusted staff. Well, let's put it this way. Any guy that's successful where he is right now already has a staff that's doing what it takes that works. So if he's successful, he's not going to come in and hire all new people. So anybody successful probably wouldn't. You would think that, again, my thoughts, just like y'all have thoughts. I almost smacked my head on the microphone. I think a Nate Oates. I think a Will Wade. I think even Musselman, which I don't want any part of. I think guys like that would keep them. A Dusty May, again, y'all know how I feel about Dusty. I think he would keep them. I don't think Scott Drew would. He's got what he's doing is working. Jerome Tang, he's got a good. I could see him infiltrating the Tang staff. Pause. More so than any of the other old heads. And Tang's not really that old, but in college basketball, he kind of is. So give us the Jay Wallman top three, not who you think it will be. That is so difficult, Kevin, because we talked about before the show, how are we going to present this when we have, for once, we don't have any idea who I think it will be. If I have to go off my instincts and from the people that I trust, I would have to say, in no particular order, Rick Pitino Jr., Mick Cronin, and Jerome Tang would be the final three. That's not my top three in a particular order is Scott Drew, Will Wade, and Shaka Smart. No, not Shaka. I mean, I love Shaka early, but I don't think he would leave where he, and I don't think Scott would leave. I'm with Dalton on this one. Where there's a Will, there's a Wade. I'm 100% there. Phil, Austin 316. Phil 413 says Kenny didn't like NIL or transfers when he was first hired. I don't know that he didn't like NIL, but when players come in on their recruiting visits and we're like, how much money am I going to make before they ask what they had to do to earn it, that rubbed them the wrong way. And I get that. I honestly do. Yeah. Henry Huang says, I like Will Wade, but don't think Jay. I don't know that he'll consider him either because of the show cause, 1,000%. Lamont Paris, another name being put in here. Fabian talking about being Dutch oven. Our guy TJ, Hamas Kelly. Listen, we got to have Quincy Riley on the show this summer. Like, there's no questions. We got to have him on here, especially since this is a more loose show. We say things on this show. We get a little unprofessional on the show because this is our fun show. I'm also trying to teach, whereas I'm being unprofessional in manners, I also try to be a little professional so that way, Wes and Tanner are here to kind of learn the business. And when we talked about, man, we wish there was another platform so you can kind of teach us that this is what I offer to do this. Just like I'm helping out my cousin Jonathan Williams down in Edmonson County. He started up Wildcat Alley, which is not UK. It's the Edmonson County Wildcat. So if you look at their logo, it's not a curse word, Wildcat. It's a Edmonson County Wildcat. But yeah, that's why we're doing it. Is anybody besides Zan participating in Senior Day? I know Aiden McCool is a senior. I would assume that JJ and BHH would participate and then afterwards make their decision on whether they're going to come back or not, because they're both technically seniors, correct? We'll let Tanner look that up while we continue talking. We don't want to stall anymore because we only got 6 minutes left. We don't want to go overtime. We will, though. Our guy TJ, love him to death, man. Jeremy Hill, man. I know I already said that once, but it was so nice. I had to say it twice. KP still deserves respect. He can go back to being a beloved alum. He has basically taken one for the team. He came in when we were pretty low and nobody was knocking our door down. He is still a card. Absolutely. I think at the end of the day, what my worst fear was, he was going to come in and be a Band-Aid coach like Steve Cragthorpe. And the next guy's going to be set up for success, I believe, no matter who it is. My guy Pip, what's good, bro? Do you honestly think they will commit? And for those of y'all that don't know, because I had people, why did people call you 55? That was my football number at U of L. As you can see behind me, that was my number at U of L. If you can see below me, that was my number at Doss. It's just been my nickname because a lot of people couldn't pronounce Woman, so I got everything else. I was like, man, just call me 55, because a lot of them would do that. Danny Mosby actually was the first one to call me 55 in college, and I was like, why don't you just call me Jeremy or what? Well, I can't pronounce your last name, and Jeremy sounds lame. And I was like, all right, bro, I love you and appreciate you, but let's go with that. Yes, I do. I do think that let's go back. I didn't finish it. I got onto the 55 movement. Do you honestly think they will commit without KP? Yes, I do. Or even know who's going to be the next coach? No, I don't. I don't think anybody knows, but Josh knows who the next coach is going to be. Dwight Stevens says, go ahead and say it, coaching. Dwight, I respect you. I'm not going to say that because, again, KP's a family friend. Well, he spent that $1 million on about 6 different players. Again, this is not conversation I'm willing to have live at all. So I'm not going to, I mean, y'all want me to still have contacts, right? You don't want me to throw out everything. Responding to Uncle Larry is Brandon Chase. I'll be there to do it with you. Pause. I don't know what Uncle Larry. Oh, yeah. Okay. Premium subscriber Jenna Jump. Agree. He absolutely deserves his buyout. Doubt the next coach will get the same treatment. Brent wants to know JJ, Aiden, and Xander. So Brandon's not a senior yet. He's been here a couple of years. He was at Florida for a couple. Okay. Well,
he's a junior.
Okay. Fair enough. WL, aka Brent. I don't know why he has different profiles on social network, and I won't give his other one away. But what loophole? I'm out of the loop. There was an alleged loophole in Mick Cronin's contract that said if the alleged that if the school moved conferences before his contract was over, that the buyout would be null and void. That's what everybody's been. That's what Bring Brown Home is hinging this campaign to, and a lot of people are hinging their hope to. Wes, go ahead.
And I was gonna say another thing in regards to that loophole. Even though we found out it doesn't exist, even if it did exist, UCLA isn't moving to the Big Ten until August. So,
Right, but it's still after the basketball season's over with. The next year is just like with KP's buyout. A lot of people are quoting April 1st or April 2nd when our season is over. And this is something one of my lawyer friends told me, again, not something I saw myself. So if it's wrong, it's wrong. But there's some wording in KP's contract that says April 1st or whenever the season ends.
okay.
So that's why people are assuming that on Wednesday or Thursday, and normally what happens, there's normally a ULAA meeting on Thursday. So I don't anticipate the firing to happen until Friday. If it happens, I say if it happens, when it happens. From all the information I've gathered, just to educate a guess, I think it may have boiled down to certain people wanting certain guys and KP saying no quite often, so the effort kind of stopped maybe. I don't want to believe that the collective left him out to dry. Brandon, send me a DM on Twitter. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Mark M says is Musselman out. I believe so. WL Weller says 4:30. I don't really know what that means, but this is what it is. It's about 7:59. We're gonna talk a little bit longer. Chris Curry says enough SEC coaches. Let's see them coach in the postseason first. I don't disagree with that. These names that we've heard from the SEC side have not been very overpowering in the NCAA tournament. He wasn't willing to compromise, kind of thing. Would you all take Davion McKnight next year if he got another year? I would, for sure, but he's not on the list he's not on. Again, we are giving up, but on the list of transfers that I was given when it was KP's getting a year 3, Davion McKnight was not on that list. Josh Hurt is on the women's tournament selection committee, so the decision may be delayed a day or two. That's very interesting. Thank you so much for letting us know that. Our guy, Ricky says it's ultimately up to Josh, but I would make them tell me no. Facts. Ben McCullum's career record, 365 and 86. Division II Coach of the Year. Impressive. Weller says again, he's throwing out every coach in America, but this guy's the coach for South Florida, correct?
Yes.
Which would be a surefire way to keep Carter in the fold because his little brother plays there. I don't know if he would transfer or not. Chad Brocky says, is curse word women on the bubble? Maybe Hurt could help keep them out. Maybe so. Again, Kelly said hi. Look, Kelly, we are getting flooded with responses and stuff. We appreciate. We just want to make sure everybody's questioned. Like we have abandoned the. We've got everything done for tonight. We're gonna bail on everything else. Tanner's writing down some stuff for us to talk about next week. Dalton's got a football segment prepared for next week that we're going to talk about as long as he's not playing kickball next Tuesday night. But we're going to talk a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit about the other stuff after we get done with U of L stuff. We'll let you all go ahead and tune into LSL. We appreciate y'all's support tonight. Could we also get Chris Bell next year? I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know for sure. Softball team takes down number 24 Arizona. Awesome. Antron Madsen says Keyshawn Hall is a walking bucket. Would have been nice to have him here, wouldn't it? Lee Newton, I can only assume, is joking. Jerry Eves, next coach. Uncle Larry says Knox would be a golden start for a rebuild. A lot of people want Will Wade, and I get it. I just don't know if we're going to go after show cause. Sharon confirms that he is in Louisville right now, and Rob also kind of backs that up. Says go look at his story on Instagram. We'll do that here in a second. I'll look that up while I let Wes and them talk. If we ever get through with these chats, which man, shout out to Mossy Oaks Property Heart Realty text line. We appreciate their support. They are America's land specialist. Premium subscriber Jenna Jump says, I think after the FSU game, KP put the final nails in the coffin by going back to the old starting lineup. He lost me at that point. Okay, so now I just posted a picture with KP. Do you think Tylor leaves? I think Tylor is a guy, and we'll talk about this next Tuesday, that I'm going to look this picture up, that we're going to talk about next Tuesday. We go over we're going to draft next year's who do you keep, who do you boot type of situation.
Like
we'll
that.
talk about it and get Q and MJ Griffin. That duo is going to be now. We're going to try. T. Will one says 41-year-old Will Wade, 35-year-old Nolan Smith with Louisville resources. Watch out. I don't disagree. Brandon was only at 1 year at Tennessee. It felt like longer. Was he at Florida for a year? I know he initially
was at Tennessee.
Right. Classified and was at Tennessee a year.
Okay. Well, it seemed like he was there longer. Whatever. So you can't recruit with show cause. I don't know for sure, Henry. I know that you can't say recruit's name. So, like, even if he did something as simple as, oh, well, you know, and you got to assume, we'll just say if tomorrow he was our coach and he was like, man, Carter Knox is a big deal for us, well, that would be a violation because he wasn't signed. Oh, 4:30 for the tournament next week. They formatted it weird on the website. Okay, thank you for correcting this there. Season end as determined by college basketball. I think Louisville's. Josh needs to get our women a 4-seater, get fired. Isaiah Kelly, and look, we're almost all the way caught up. Y'all see Sanan just posted a picture of KP. The timeline is hot. And Louisville ACC game is at 4:30. Yes, we fixed that. Thank you. Brandon Chase says going to be in the house for BC and hopefully will lead us to a W on senior night to end the season. L's up. And last but not least, Will Wade cannot do in-person recruiting. You wouldn't need to if you had Nolan there. That's a fact. Wes, I want you to go ahead and kind of give us your thoughts on what we've been talking about coach-wise and all that while I look up this fire picture, apparently.
In my honest opinion, I feel like Tang is on the list. Shirts is pop. For some reason, he has a lot of people buzzing, and I can understand that after leading Indiana State to their first top 25 ranking since Larry Bird, which is a long time. So I understand his name being on the list. Back to Wade, winning another conference title. Won a conference title everywhere he's been. And yeah, I'd probably put Jerome Tang on that list if possible. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out because nobody knows what is going on. Josh Hurd is in stealth mode. Absolutely quiet. Vacuum sealed. I feel like we probably have a good month before a hire is actually made, depending on who it is. there will be time in between. Essentially, I mean, of course, everybody wants to go after a coach that's going to be in the tournament. So we could be looking 3 weeks to a month before we make an official hire, but there's no telling, honestly. Big names, like we said, the strikes, of course. Will Wade on the outside looking in, even though I mentioned him in my list, but yeah. So actually, I kind of had to take him out. But yeah, it's gonna. I don't know what Josh has up his sleeve, but the fact that he has 2 top 20 guys possibly nearing commitment despite what is going on it's bizarre. Don't get me wrong, bizarre to say the least, but interesting.
Absolutely. And we want to say thank you to everybody that's tuned in. We really appreciate the love and support as always. We normally don't get that big of a numbers on Tuesday because we are a practice show for everybody. But we shared it with the topic today. We knew we were going to get pretty big numbers tonight, and we appreciate that. Apparently, the picture is of KP hugging Tanner. I know you've seen it because you put it in the group chat. It's a picture of KP kind of with doing the point and the hand on the other shoulder, to which Jason Sanon has said, "Here with my dog KP."
Oh boy.
Forget everything I just said. KP, year 3 is on. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. I'm sorry. I really am joking.
And Punk, only thing that screams is pipe bomb.
Listen, there's definitely something going on.
I just like those grenades being lobbed onto the timeline at 8 o'clock at night.
It's crazy. All right, sorry. Just texting with a couple of my contacts that are texting me during the show, which I love when people do that. Just texting me during the show. Already following you. Appreciate it. Shout out to everybody that's following us, showing love. I'm going to try to hop on really quick to the Facebook show as well while we're doing this, so I can see who all is. Oops, well, that's not good. I want to give a little love to Facebook before we get off here. Larry Whitaker, Sarah Davenport watching. Appreciate it. Look, I meant Bruce Pearl. Sorry. Well, we have some dumb fans. Okay. No, Michi, I was joking. KP year 3, I don't believe is an option, but we'll see. Chris Curry says Tang's passion would be good for the fan base. I agree with that. Show cause means he can't recruit off campus and do like you do, like an in-home visit. Okay. What about Bill Parsons? Okay, that's a nice one. Tang just signed an extension, which doesn't really mean anything these days. We could means his buyout may be higher or lower. I don't think Josh Hurd will waive 10 feet within this program. Well, I guess it was supposed to be will allow Will Wade 10 feet within this program because of the NCAA programs. I think it's important to note that Will Wade's NCAA problems were giving players money to play for him, which is absolutely legal right now. All right, so we're finally caught up on the. What's up? Hayden Redmond in the building says, "Hey." I don't know if he's a horse or if he's just very excited about saying hi. Dwayne Cross says, "What if he really gets to year 3 and we're talking to?" Listen, it would be the most KP thing ever. Like I discussed this with one of my colleagues earlier. I said, "I've finally given up. Everybody else is ready to boot him too," and he wins 4 games in the ACC tournament, and then wins 4 games in the NCAA tournament, and then you got the whole fan base like, "What? What are we? What's going on?" Like, I don't know. So, yes, I won't kill you. That's a funny scenario, and a scenario that I'm not really sure is a plausible scenario. We were going to talk a little wrestling tonight too, and we had some stuff for Higgy, but he left to put on a padlock on his refrigerator. John B says, "Show me your wise man," and that is exactly what it would take. Okay. But we'll save that for next Tuesday, or maybe we'll come to y'all later in the week. Maybe we'll do a special show later this week. Keep your notifications on if you are watching us on Facebook, you'll get a notification every time we come on if you subscribe or follow us. And on YouTube, every time we go live, you'll get a notification when we go live. And maybe we'll do a special because we have neglected wrestling this week, and that's something I'm very passionate about, and I also do for a living is cover wrestling. So we'll talk about the road to WrestleMania, the AEW Dynamite relaunch, NXT Roadblock, and much, much more. We'll do that on a show later this week. We won't take any more of y'all time. We've already went 10 minutes over. LSL is on over at 93.9 The Ville. Josh has that money dog. It's good to see you well. I am well, but here's something I wanted to touch on because I'm a little too well because I've gained all my muscle back that I had before, and because I still can't exercise. Really, they've not cleared me to exercise. Okay, tell you a story. Sunday morning, I was feeling kind of, and I went and stepped on the scale, and I saw that I had gained 45 pounds since I got out of the hospital in April. All I needed to see. Asked my doctor, can I exercise yet? They said no. So Monday morning, I went out and started exercising. Been out every day this week. I'm going to update y'all on my weight loss. Just remind me during the show. It won't be offensive to me. Be like, hey, how many pounds? Because I'm going to weigh every Sunday. I want to get Higgy encouraged by this because Higgy's my guy. He's also gained a bunch of weight since he moved down to Nashville. I want him to be healthy. I want him to be around a lot. Tanner, do you have one of those fans that are like hiding in secret, and when you turn it on,
it's my. Wait, are you talking about this thing?
Yes.
That's just a light.
Oh, okay. It kind of looks like. Listen, they've got fans like that now in some of the condos that we stay at in Florida, and for some reason, it's the coolest fan. I'm going to get some for these rooms in here because it is 100 degrees up here in my upstairs spare rooms because of how far away they are from the central air. But yeah. I'm doing well. I'm able to, if y'all remember, when I got home from the hospital, I was wheezing halfway through the show and had to end it for the first couple of months. I wasn't doing good. But thank you. Thank you so much, John. I am trying to do better. Hayden in the building. What's good, man? I got a long road ahead of me. My goal is to lose 50. It was to lose 50 pounds by April the 20th. But I had a smart aleck person on Facebook respond, well, why not 55? So then I was like, you mother lover. Absolutely, I've got to lose 55 pounds by April 20th. So that's the goal. That's what I'm going to do. 55 saves lives, says Albert Cross. John V says, always in my prayers. I appreciate that. Ricky Buckner with one final question before we hop off here. My question is, if Josh is the one recruiting these guys, where was his antennas the last two seasons? Fair enough. I don't think Josh is recruiting these guys per se, but I think just like with the Bobby Petrino situation when he left when we had a bunch of 5 stars, 2 or 3 5 stars, including a kid from here in the city. I don't remember his name. I do think he's one of the – who's the linebacker that played for them this past year that was from Louisville? Really good too.
Not linebacker, but you talking about Stephen
D end.
Stephen Heron?
No. For the blue team, he was from Moore High School.
JJ Weaver.
JJ Weaver.
JJ Weaver.
That's who it was. Came for a visit, and there was no coach. It was just Vince Tyree. Yeah. And Vince Tyree went on all the official visits for December and January until we were able or until we named, not the whole month of January, but until we named our next head coach. He went on the rest of those visits. I think that's a similar situation. Jordan Johnson says, glad you're doing better, brother. I appreciate that. Cardon, you can do it. Albert Cross says, I pledge $55 if you hit that. Oh, is that what we're doing? Are we doing a GoFund? Are we doing a GoFat for me? I'm okay with that. Go Fat AS. No, I'm just kidding. Look, if y'all want to, it is what it is. I'll just put it towards the podcast and show and stuff, but I appreciate the good thoughts. Good night. Appreciate everybody. Good Lord. Everybody tuning in on all of the platforms. Love y'all. We appreciate it. Wes, you got any final words before we let this train go off? And not the must bus, but we let the train go off the tracks there at the
end? Buckle up and get ready for a roller coaster ride, folks.
It's going to be a crazy 2 weeks. Tanner, what do you got, buddy?
Just what Wes said, and I mean, if it's not Scott Drew, like, don't freak out if it's like a smaller name. I know that's easier said than done, but there are a lot of good coaches out there that aren't necessarily like home run hires.
I
But-
thought he was going to say, if it's not Scott Drew, you might as well keep Kenny. I was about to lose it. I was like, you're going to make the platform melt.
I mean, if it's on, if no one absolutely says they want the job, then
Stop it, Tanner. Cardon, peace out. We love y'all. We appreciate the support. My last words are this. It costs 0 cents to be nice to people. You may differ in opinion. This is not a Jerry Springer end of the show final thoughts thing either. Be nice. Like, it doesn't cost anything to be nice, and don't be nasty to somebody when you don't know them personally, because if you mess with Tanner on Twitter and then you met him, you probably might still mess with him. No offense to Tanner, but you might be like, oh, I'm gonna get him. You ain't gonna say jack crap to me in person. I am the nice guy. I play the nice guy on Twitter because I have a brand to protect. When I'm off the air and I'm not in business, just be nice. I'm not gonna say anything to get me in trouble. Be nice, love each other. I will tell y'all, I'll continue to tell you all everything I hear. If it ends up not being true, do not blame me. Speaking of that, shout out to our guy Tice, who likes to call me names and then apologize to me in the DMs, which I appreciate. I've appreciated it. I get it. Like, people are not happy with how this went down. Not my fault, because I believed in them at first. It is what it is. For Wes Keys, for Tanner Hickman, and for Lucy's over here too. I don't think y'all can see her, but for Lucy, who's in the background, we love you guys. We appreciate it. This has been Live with 55, a subsidiary of the car. Wes, you're supposed to act like you're hitting the button.
Oh.
Hit the music.
We throw the mails and you take them home. When they ring the bells, you know that it's home. The bar is set, we setting the tone. If we set it, then set it in stone. Sit in the seat and set up your phone. You in the car, no sports zone.